Hi guys, I'm so excited for today's video. Like, I know I say that basically every video that I film, but honestly, I'm always excited when I sit down to play because we're gonna be playing with new makeup today, and I have a palette here in my hands that normally I wouldn't have bought a color story like this, but because it's from this brand, and this is a brand that I've been wanting to try for a very long time, this is a brand that ended up on basically everybody's list of best palette that they tried in 2021. And I'm over here being like, I have missed out. Like, I don't know why I didn't end up buying the first two palettes they came out with. If you don't know the brand that I'm talking about, obviously is Blendbunny Cosmetics. You've already seen that in the title of the video, but this is a brand that I sort of just slept on. And their other two palettes, I think the reason I never ended up buying them is because I just, by the time they launched, like, I try to buy things on launch or I don't buy them at all. And I just kind of forgot about their launches. Like, the first one I didn't even know existed, and then people started using it and I was like, oh, that's a nice palette. But then it was like, it's too late, you know, like, it's already come out. I can't really review that. And then the other palette came out at a time where I was just so busy. I just had so many things into my collection, and it was a very large palette, and I just felt a little bit overwhelmed because trying to properly review a large palette is very overwhelming because there's so many shades in there. And so when they came out with this one, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this, even though the color story is a little bit too neutral for what I normally like, but on the other hand, this is a fun neutral palette. So of course we're talking about the Dollhouse palette from Blendbunny, and I think that this is a beautifully done neutral palette, but still a neutral palette that people who like color is going to love, because there are so many different tones and hues in here, and the way that it's laid out is really easy for people who maybe don't want to think about what they're going to do with their makeup to use, and I can really appreciate that. Personally, I'll probably be jumping around and like using all of the rows together in this palette because that's how I like to do my makeup, but I'm just really excited because I've heard so many good things about Blendbunny, and I'm excited to be able to try out the formula for myself and see how much I like it. And the owner was so sweet. I tagged her in my stories when I got this, and I was like, look what just came in the mail. Like, I finally got my Blendbunny palette. And she was like, oh my god, I need to send you the other two. So I might get the other two as well, and I'll make videos with them when I do get them. So I'm really excited. I cannot wait to dig into this. Like, my expectations are sky high, which is probably a bad thing because it means that if this doesn't perform better than what I'm expecting, I might be disappointed, but we'll just see. We're just gonna dig in. I'm gonna try this palette. We're gonna have a good time. This video is only going to be one look, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with this moving forward, because if I do end up getting the other two palettes, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do multiple looks with all of them, but I'm for sure going to do at least one look with every palette. Maybe I'll do a video doing like one look with each palette and have it be a 3-look video or something like that. I don't know. You guys are gonna have to let me know what you want to see, but let's go ahead and play with this palette. I'm gonna prime with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base as per usual. I also ended up getting the brush set from them because I've also heard so many things about these. Like, all of my friends use them and they rave about them and they love them. So I was like, you know what, let me try them, because these are all like very small blending brushes. So we'll see how they stack up to my Rephr brushes. Obviously, I am biased towards Rephr because I've been using them for such a long time and I absolutely love them. But to see another brand come out with like a small blending brush set, that is very unusual, and that makes me really excited, because if these are nice, it's really good for me to have an alternative that I can recommend that are synthetic, because obviously Rephr brushes are not synthetic, and I know that not everybody wants to use goat hair brushes, which I totally understand. So these might be like a really good alternative. Let me see if I can find a dupe to my Rephr 13. Like, what would be the closest in size to my Rephr 13? Probably this one. Yeah, wow, those are very similar. So this is the B1 brush from Blendbunny, which is the black one, and then the other one is my Rephr 13. So those are very similar, like almost scarily similar, which I love. Ooh, I cannot wait to use these. So I'm probably gonna start with that one actually. No, maybe I'll start with the larger one. So this is the B5. I think this is the biggest one. I think they just go in color, like the color of the shaft of the brushes tell you like which one is the smallest one. So I think the white one is the largest one, and then this one is probably the second biggest one. Is it though? No, probably not. Maybe? No, maybe not. I'm not really sure. Anyway, doesn't matter, and I just dropped one on the floor, so that's great. I'm not really sure what I want to do today. Obviously, you've already seen the swatches, and so I have a lot to work with here. I'm gonna try to bend this back without breaking the palette. Can I do it? It's always such a sweat every time. I'm like, I'll be easy with it. There we go. Okay, so if you're wondering about the size of this is honestly not as big as I thought it was going to be. And I know everybody says that, but like you hear a palette that has 30 shades in it and you're like, yeah, that's gonna be pretty big. But I compared it to one of my Glamlight. I am knocking everything over today. Why am I like this? The palette that I feel like is probably the closest is going to be this one from Glamlight. It's the Ice Cream Dream palette. So like size wise, these are very similar, like almost exactly the same size. So if you have this palette, you kind of know what you're in for. And this one also has 30 shades, but the layout is a little bit different. But like you can see them side by side, that the size of the pans are basically identical, but this one is just like crammed together a little bit better, which I do like, something that is very nice and compact. So I'm really pleased to see that the size of this is not as big as I thought it was going to be. And when I swatched it, the shimmers are so interesting. I'm really curious to see how these are going to perform. Like when I felt them, they kind of felt like a mix between a Glamlight shimmer and the Beauty Bay formula, like something in between those. I would say that the Glamlight formula is a little bit thicker, but the Beauty Bay formula is like very slippery, very kind of wet feeling, and these are sort of like in between. Some of these swatch a little bit sheerly, like some of this top row here, but I think that with a glitter primer, these are going to look beautiful. So let's see, what do I want to do today? This purple is like really screaming my name. Like this whole row of like dark shades is so up my alley. So I just got to figure out like what it is I want to do in my crease. I'm kind of thinking I want to do like this one and then deepen it up with like some of these darker shades and then play with some of the shimmers on my lid. Maybe I'll even do like a big wing today. I'm kind of feeling that. So I think I'm going to start with the shade right here, which is called Plastic. And let me use this brush instead. I'm going to use the B4. This is sort of like a terracotta, but make a neutral shade. Just going to pop that in the front portion of my crease here, and I'm gonna take this about halfway. I'm gonna make this into a bit of a two-toned crease. When I swatched these mattes, I kind of had a feeling that they would be more of a buildable formula than something that is like bam pigment right away. And I feel like that is probably gonna be the case because it is going on really nicely at first, but it's also taking a little bit of time to just get it like super. Why do I have eyeshadow like right here? I don't know what happened. Let me clean up. Anyway, where was I? I was saying that I feel like this is going to be more of a buildable and blendable formula rather than something that's super pigmented straight off the bat. And that definitely seems to be the case, like I said, and that is looking so nice. Like that smoothed it out so effortlessly. And like, I feel like I've watched enough videos of people using Blendbunny now that I sort of know what to expect, but it's still nice to be able to make up my own mind on a formula because sometimes, you know, there are formulas that other people maybe don't like as much and I end up liking them myself because there's just so much personal preference when it comes to eyeshadows, and also everybody seems to apply shadows differently, so it just depends on what it is that you're used to and what you're looking for in your eyeshadows. But this is looking beautiful, like really nice. I like that color. I like how that applied. I like how it blended out. We're off to a good start. I'm gonna just wipe off my same brush here because that is what I always do because I'm lazy. And I'm gonna go into the shade called Rouge, which is this beautiful, sort of muted, almost mauvey pink, but it's definitely a little bit brighter than a mauve. And I'm just gonna put that in the outer corner or outer crease part of my eye here, and we'll see how this one performs. But they just seem to build so nicely, and there's a richness to them that I was expecting, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get, and I love that. I love when shadows are rich in pigment in a way that it's hard to explain what it is I'm trying to say, but if you've tried Natasha Denona, you know what I mean. And I feel like her shadows, you can build them on top of each other, and the more you build, the more intensity you kind of get from them, and I feel like this is what I'm experiencing with this formula so far as well. So I'm going to keep the shape of this in the outer corner quite round because I do want to do, like I said, one of my big wings. And when I do that, I need the eyeliner to sort of extend past the edge of my eyeshadow here. So I'm just going to do this in a bit of a rounded shape. I might do something else like in the front portion of my lower lash line or use some kind of a shimmer. But for now, I'm just gonna use it like this. And I have to admit, I almost forgot that I was using this brush and that it's new and that I've never used it because it just feels so natural. Like it feels like it's the kind of brush that I've used forever and that I just love and that I'm just used to the way that it applies my colors because it's just doing such a wonderful job. And I'm not at all surprised that I like these brushes because the shape of them are basically perfect for what it is that I look for in my blending brushes, because having hooded eyes and having really small eyes, well, compared to other people anyway, I just have a small head, which means that my eyes are small, but in comparison to my face, I feel like my eyes are pretty big. So when I say my eyes are small, it doesn't really make sense to a lot of you, which I totally understand, but I just have very small features in general, so I just have kind of small eyes, and a lot of the time blending brushes are just too small for me, or too big for me, I mean. But this is looking so nice. So I think what I want to do, I am going to just work on blending this a little bit more after I'm done putting these colors down, but I think I'm going to use probably, I was going to use this one, which is called Kinch, but I feel like that's a little more, it's not a warm tone purple, but I feel like I'm going to go with this one instead because it goes so nicely with this one, and there's obviously a reason why these are on the same row. I'm just going to use the same brush because that's what I do. So I'm gonna dip into the shade called Plume, and I'm just gonna pack that in the outer corner of my eye here, and we'll see what happens. I'm also going to deepen up the outer portion of my crease. I'm not gonna take this all the way through my crease. I want the front portion to be a little bit lighter than, oh, that looks so good. I love this color. This looks amazing. Like, I'm starting to get the hype because these mattes so far are performing so well. I'm gonna take this a little bit just on the outer corner of my lower lash line as well. Just make sure that the outer edges here are blended together. Oh, that looks so good. God, if all of these mattes are this good and all of the mattes in the other two palettes are this good, I feel bad for the rest of my collection. I feel bad for the rest of my palettes because I don't know if I'm gonna want to reach for anything else because I'll have everything I need. Like, so many of my friends have started only using these for like their mattes now, and I'm like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to do anything else? I'm thinking I just want to use some shimmers next. So before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do my big wing. And I'm going to use my favorite liquid liner, which this has been my holy grail eyeliner, and I don't really mention it, but this has been my holy grail for like 2 years now. I've tried so many liquid liners, keep going back to this one. This is the one from DHC Cosmetics, which is such a random brand that I found through Samantha March. She put this in her favorites video, I think in like 2018 or something. I ended up buying this, and I've basically used it on and off ever since, but this is the one that I always come back to because, number one, it's so liquidy without being too liquidy, and it just like glides on so nicely. It doesn't tug, it doesn't budge, it dries down really fast, it's nice and black, and it lasts forever. Like, it just doesn't dry out like other liners does, and it is a brush tip, which I really like. So basically how I do this, is this perfectly blended? Maybe not perfectly, but I can work on that. So I'm gonna basically follow the outer corner of my eye, like the lower lash line up, and I'm gonna draw with my eyes open because my eyes are hooded. I'm just gonna draw a line that kind of goes up towards my eyebrow here, and I'm gonna stop it probably something like this. And then what I do is, still with my eyes open, I'm gonna connect this to the hood of my eye, so it's gonna be about here. I'm just gonna draw a line here, still with my eye open, just so that when I look straight ahead, like, it looks like I have a big wing on. Obviously it looks crazy right now because I need to perfect this. I'm just going to connect it in the outer corner here, and then I'm going to fill in basically this whole part that I just drew on. So now that I'm looking straight ahead, like, it basically just looks like a big wing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in like the outer portion on my lid as well, but I am going to go over this with a black eyeshadow just to make sure I'm not missing any spots. But I'm just taking this all on the outer portion here, sort of doing it in a bit of a diagonal. It doesn't really matter too much, but I just find that when I start blending eyeshadows over the top of this, it just sort of makes a little bit more sense. So I'm just going to do the same on the other eye. So I don't know if these are completely even. They probably are not, but they're going to look even once my look is done. This one got a little bit out of line, but I don't want to fuss with it because it's just going to get crazy. So I'm going to take a small pencil brush. This is the 03 from Rephr, and I'm going to go into this shade called Stitched, which is the black. That was a hard sentence to say, and I tried to say that like 3 times. But I'm basically just going to put that over where I put down the eyeliner just to make sure that I don't have any bald spots and that this is looking nice on the lid here, as well as sort of blend it in a little bit into my crease, but not too much. I just want to have a little bit of a gradient just right on the outer edge here. And I know I obviously put a ton of eyeliner over the color that I put in my outer corner, but I just wanted to see how it would perform still, and I didn't have any problems at all. And this black is very nice and black, and it's super matte, which I really like that. Just gonna make sure that everything here is covered, and then I feel like these are not even at all. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of fixing. This one is like up a little bit higher than this one, so maybe I need to pull this out a little bit further there, but it's fine. Let me do some glitter primer real quick. The one that I use is obviously from NYX, and I'm just gonna put the glitter primer all over my lid, as well as tap it a little bit over that black that I put down, because I do want to layer some of these shimmers, just so I can try out more than just a couple. So let's start with the darkest one. I think I want to use the shade called Harlequin because it just looks so pretty. I don't know if it's going to go with this look. It probably will not, but honestly, I just don't care because this is such a cool sort of black with shimmer in it. And I'm going to take that on the outer portion of my lid here and just sort of put it above that black shade, just to have something to blend the other shimmers into. This is so nice and sparkly. I really like that. That would be beautiful to do like a black smoky eye with. That would look really nice. I'm having a little bit of fallout, like not a ton, but just a little bit, just something to keep in mind. Maybe be a little bit careful. Just making sure that everything here is mixed together. And I know this is looking a little bit crazy and this side isn't perfect, but it's gonna come together in the end. Just trust the process. So for the middle of my lid, I'm gonna take the shade called Little Sister, which is this one, because it kind of goes with this row, and I feel like that sort of just makes sense. And then for the front portion, I'll use one of these up here. So first I'm gonna take Little Sister on the other side of my brush. That looks beautiful. And that's basically gonna go in the middle of my lid, and I'm going to blend it over that black. This is so sparkly and pretty. It's definitely a bit of a putty formula though, that like in the pan, when you sort of try to pick it up on your brush, it sort of moves around a little bit, which is why I was saying it's a little bit similar to the Beauty Bay formula in a way. But I feel like these pick up on a brush a little bit better than the Beauty Bay one does. But these are blending very nicely in together, and I really like how that looks. That is really pretty. And then for the front portion of my lid, I think I want to use, that would look so pretty. I'm going to take the shade called Tulle, which is this one. And this is going to go in the front portion of my lid and just blend it into the middle shade here. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of something else on the front portion of my lower lash line just to try out another shade. But these are just blending in together so beautifully. I actually really like the shimmers in this palette more than I thought I would, because I was mostly excited about the mattes because those are the ones that I've heard so many good things about. But honestly, these shimmers are really nice. Let's take a little bit of this gold shade under my eye. This is the shade called Pin Curls. Just gonna put a little bit of this on here. I'm using this dry because I just want a little bit. That is really, really pretty. And then for the very inner corner, I need to use this shade too because I can't help myself. This is a shade called Lace. Again, I'm just gonna use this dry and I'm just gonna tap a little bit, wow, that's so bright, of that in the inner corner just to brighten everything up a bit and just blend it all together. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just finesse everything a little bit, and then I will come back and I will show you the final look. I need to put on a lipstick too. So I'm gonna do that and I'll be right back. Okay, and this is the completed look, and I'm very much in love with this. I think this turned out so good. it looks so pretty. Like everything just performed like a dream. If you want to know how I finished off my look for my lips, I'm wearing a lip liner from BK Beauty. This is in the shade Warm Spice. It is like my favorite sort of dark nude in my collection. I think it's just beautiful. And then my lipstick is from Laura Mercier. It's one of the Caviar lipsticks. This is in the shade Charmeuse or something like that. Just thought it would match the lip liner very nicely, and it kind of goes with like the warm tones that I have in my crease, and I think it looks really nice. My blush today is from YSL. When I did my blush declutter, I will link that in the corner. One of you asked if you could see me use this in a video, and I was like, I've used it, but I don't remember which video. So I decided to put it on today, and just so you could see, like it's orange, but it's not like in your face orange. It's definitely not as bright as it looks in the pan. It's more of a wearable orange where it's not so orange that you feel uncomfortable, but it's beautiful. The finish of it is really, really nice. My highlighter today is from Kaleidos. It's the Solar Sailor, which I feel like I haven't used in quite some time because I keep using my Bitter Lace Beauty one and I almost forget that I have this as well, and I really like it. So that's how I decided to finish off. And like I said, I think I get it now. I get the hype with this palette. I get the hype with this brand. I think their formula so far is really, really nice. Obviously, this is only a first impression, and I only used, let's see, 1, 2, 3 mattes in this, and probably more shimmers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shimmers. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to keep playing with this. I don't know if I'm going to do a multiple look video because I am working with some other multiple look videos right now that I want to get up first, and I might not have time before I get something new into my collection. I'm trying to get through the things that I have that I really want to play with more. But yeah, let me know if you want to see more looks with this. Maybe I can do like a 2 looks 1 palette and do it both in like the same sitting. Maybe I could do something like that. Let me know what you want to see. I definitely listen to feedback, and I wanna make content that you guys want to watch. So let me know if you want more with this brand. I'm definitely gonna do it with the other 2 palettes when I get them. I'm so excited. And I'm just so grateful that not only have I tried this brand, but I get to try the other 2 palettes as well. That is just so fun. So that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see some other first impression videos, here's my never-ending playlist. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.